While the President of the United States was busy selling beans on the internet, another tell-all book hit the shelves this week and spilled the beans. Soon enough, it may hit Donald Trump's ego, because this book is breaking records with mammoth sales. It sold a staggering 950,000 copies on the first day of its sale. 950,000 copies. This figure includes pre-sales, e-books, and audiobooks. It's available in almost every format possible and has already created a new record for its publisher. Reports say this book is on its way to becoming a sensational bestseller in an election year. You already know which book I'm talking about, but I will give you the title nonetheless. It is called Too Much and Never Enough: How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man. No prizes for guessing which man. The one and only Captain Chaos, Donald Trump. But unlike the last tell-all book by Mr. John Bolton, what makes this one more special is the fact that it has been penned by one of Trump's relatives, his niece, Mary Lee Trump. She's a psychologist. And in 225 pages, she has diagnosed her uncle with all kinds of personality disorders. Before we start decoding the excerpts, here's a disclaimer. The details may sound a little wacky when spoken out of context, so I suggest you read the book first and then come to your own conclusions. But I'll tell you what I know. To start with, this book blames the Trump family patriarch, Fred Trump, for much of the family's alleged dysfunction. It talks about how Donald Trump was destroyed by his father. That's the word she used. Let me quote. By limiting Donald's access to his own feelings and rendering many of them unacceptable, Fred perverted his son's perception of the world and damaged his ability to live in it. Simply put, the troubles from his childhood molded the adult Donald Trump. The book then goes on to talk about Trump's university days. It claims that Trump was a university cheater, that he paid a friend to take the SAT test for him, a standardized exam which determines university placement. Allow me to quote. He hired a smart kid with a reputation of being a good test taker to take his SATs for him. Donald, who never lacked for funds, paid his buddy well, a claim that the White House has vehemently denied, saying that the president has never cheated. The saddest and perhaps the most fleshed out parts of this book are on Donald Trump's relationships with women. Mary Trump writes that her uncle kept a list of women who refused to date him. She talks about a folder she landed upon, which wasn't about business. Let me quote again. It was an aggrieved compendium of women he had expected to date, but who, having refused him, were suddenly the worst, ugliest, and the fattest slobs he had ever met. Well, that's not all. Mary Trump has claimed that her uncle made suggestive comments about her body when she was 29 years old, even though she was his niece and Trump was a married man. I do not wish to get into the details any further. I'd rather you read the book yourself, decide for yourself how true these claims may be. As for Mary Trump, she has not shied away from clearly stating the purpose of this book. At a time like this, just months before the election, I'll leave you with this statement that she made in a recent interview.
I didn't mean I want you to keep doing what you're doing and get away with it, and also so much of what has happened since then hadn't yet happened. And I thought his response was actually more enlightening than my statement. And he said, "They won't get me." And so far, looks like he's right.
And if you're in the Oval Office today, what would you say to him?
Resign.